this Indian girl started working at the prison. So Hot Rod was like, he was like, man, the new girl out there, he was like, man, I want you to see her. I'm like, bet. So I put my shoes on, my penitentiary fresh. I go out there and everybody trying to get her attention. And in my head, I'm thinking, don't do that. You got to do something different from it. So I kind of stand back in the crowd and I see her. By the time I catch eye contact, I walk off like I ain't paying no attention. I told my daddy that same day, I said, it's a little Indian girl down there. She nice too. He was like, oh yeah. I said, I'm gonna get her. He said, man, you ain't gonna get her. I said, why to see? 2 weeks roll by. She come in our unit and I hear her when she walk in and I got up and I looked out the window. My dad said, who is it? I said, it's a girl. My daddy got up and looked. I said, I'm gonna get her. He said, man, you ain't gonna get her. I said, what is he? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get her. I get off from work. This how the conversation start. 2-3 weeks, I don't say nothing to her. I don't go talk to her. I don't look at her. Nothing. I get out of work one day and I'm going to get some ice. And as I'm walking to get the ice, she was like, hey, you. And I just kind of looked at her and she was like, yeah, you. She was like, why? You don't never come out. You don't never come talk to me. You don't. I said, ain't nothing worth coming out here looking at. I said, and I kept walking. And as I go and get the ice, I walking back and now she done got out of the chair and she's standing like in front of the cage. And she was like, what you mean? I said, man, ain't nothing out here worth looking at. And I kept walking. I go in, I take the ice and I come out and I stand on the top walk and she looking at the paperwork and she kept looking up at me. And I come down and she was like, who's your Sally? She was like, y'all got the same name. I was like, that's my daddy. And she was like, really? She started asking questions. So then we started talking. I go to the shower. She come and stand by the shower, watching me, looking me up and down, all this old type of stuff. I'm cooking stuff. She asked me about the meals. I'm explaining stuff. And so one day I walked up to her. My daddy don't know this. We got a cell phone, but we don't keep it in the cell. We never keep it in the cell. I write the number down and I go downstairs and I tell her, I say, look, what I'm about to say, you just let it go in one ear and out the other if you don't like what I say. She was like, okay, what is it? I said, what if it was a way we can talk outside of here? She was like, what you mean? And she was just kind of looking like she wanted to answer, but she wasn't sure if I was trying to set her up. I said, don't say nothing. But I said, I taped a piece of paper under the sink in the staff bathroom. I said, I'm gonna walk off. I said, I ain't gonna talk to you the rest of the day. I said, you go in there, you get that piece of tape. I said, you can hit me blocked. And she was like, and I walked off.